Welcome to part, is it 7? I think it's 7. Could be 7. Or if it ain't, I apologise. Anyway, welcome to the next part. I do apologise, I've not been online recently. I have not been very well, had a chest infection, coughing my guts up, so having all this dust around was not a good idea. So I am back. So where are we? Well, the tailplane. Tailplane and the elevator. Now, I have put the blunted V in, and I have put some cotton. I put some cotton around it, and it doesn't look very pretty, but you know, I couldn't think of anything better at the time, so that's what I did. And I put the Mylar hinges in, which actually was a bit easier than I thought it was going to be. So that's now ready for covering, and I will be making a little horn here. I'm going to make one. I'm not going to go out and buy one. I'm not going to make one for nothing. Right, tail fin rudder, or if you like the vertical fin. Let's get the terminology correct. As you may recall, I just thought this is stupid, I'll just make it out of one piece. So there we go, that's now ready. I have chamfered either side, just one side, don't have to do both sides. Probably see there. Put a Mylar hinge there, and just in case I put one here. I may not use it, we'll have to wait and see, probably will. So that's ready for covering, and of course I will make a little horn, probably go on this side here. And then I'm going to fit them in, cut the snakes to size, and then they will be ready, and I can carry on with the rest of the fuselage, or the fuzz as we like to say, and all would be well. And then obviously I can then start the wings, because the wings are actually the interesting part. Well, they are for me anyway. And then we should be ready to go for covering and putting on the undercarriage, etc, etc. So that's where we're at. So there you go. This is not as difficult as you might think it is. It's really quite easy. I can't see the point in making this into bits. It's just ridiculous. You know, and at the end of the day, if you cover this and you get a warp in it, you're going to have the devil getting the warp out of it. And at least this way, you know, it's going to be flat. It's flat. So there you go. So watch this space. Well, some progress made, and I found this actually to be quite enjoyable whilst watching my favourite program on the iPad there. Some fool is trying to convert a Guillows SE5a to a flyable condition under power. I don't know why he's doing that, but anyway, there you go. Now, the vertical stabiliser, got the terminology correct this time, is obviously not glued in, but it's now in position, and so is the horizontal stabilizer. Now let me just readjust the camera there. So what you have now, let me grab my pencil. I've put this balsa in, and I've put a strengthener in here. You may just be able to see that, I hope. And then underneath this part here, this is to stabilise the snake that's going through. And as you can see under there, the snake's going through. And I've put the control horns on, so the snakes come out exactly where they're supposed to go to meet the control horns, which I carved out by hand out of some 2mm ply. So they're smack on, they're dead on, those are, and should meet very little resistance. There's a slight bend here, but I don't envisage any problems with the metal rod inside moving there. So we're now at a really interesting stage, because now I've got this done, this build should now move on quite rapidly. So just to reiterate, I've put a strengthener in here to stabilise the elevator fin. I've put this balsa in here to strengthen the snake that goes to the control horn, and which I've made all these by hand, it's not a big deal. I've added a nylon hinge here, which I managed to cut into the very rear here, and that was not difficult at all. There was no problem doing that at all. I thought there would be, but there wasn't. So when I come to put it together, all I have to do is just glue that straight on, just straight onto the top there once I've covered it. So now this allows me to put the metal control rods through onto the servos, link them on, okay, and then I can take all this off again, knowing that everything is in the correct place where it should be. The servos have already been centered, which I think I did earlier in an earlier video, so we're in a good place. So now this should rapidly move forward. I was hoping, well, I'm still considering putting a hatch here for the pilot, and lift the pilot out to gain access to these servos. I may not have to now, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That's the exciting thing now. So I'll have another think about that. I don't know, I haven't made my mind up yet. But once I've got these control rods in, I can then start putting the stringers in and having a look at the undercarriage and how that's going to go together, because I've not put any thought into that whatsoever. So just grab the camera now. Whoa, there you go. That's what things look like from front to back. Okay, so put your pause button on if you need to take any notes from that. Okay, you can see that the nylon hinges are in there. They will disappear once it gets covered. And don't be afraid to put a very sharp knife in the very end there for your nylon hinge. I think it's quite important that you can get that in. It'll stabilize the rudder there and be a lot stronger. So all I've got to do now with this is I'll just pull that out now, so it gives you a better view of how it looks. Okay, and pull the horizontal stabilizer out, and we're left with that. Obviously these snakes can be trimmed. Well, that's what I've done, and it didn't take me long, and it was not difficult. A lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I think tomorrow I will have a whole day to myself. Oh no, I've got to go down the airfield. Well, nearly a whole day to myself tomorrow, and this will hopefully move very rapidly forward, and see if we can get onto the wings. But obviously I've got to finish the fuselage first. I'm not even going to start looking at the wings, but I must admit I'm looking forward to doing the wings. So let's see what happens next. So there you are, there's your control horn. It took me about 20 minutes to make each one. It's not difficult, to be honest with you, and I think they look a little bit better than the plastic things you can get from the shop. Obviously they're not glued in yet because I haven't covered the model. Once I cover the rudder, I will stick this in permanently, and that'll just be ready to go straight on, and the elevator go straight on. Glue it in, attach up the servos. Job done on that, and yeah, so it should be moving forward now, thank goodness, and I will carry on watching this old fool, whatever he is. Well, ladies and gents, the progress so far, I've covered the horizontal tail, I've covered the vertical tail, and that's gone okay. Now, I don't like covering, I get no enjoyment out of it whatsoever. But anyway, there you go, it's done. And I have glued in half of the hinges, but obviously I need to take this apart. So what was the point of doing it? Well, the point of doing it was that I wanted to make sure that these servos were in the correct position, ready for when I do the covering and everything else, because unless I put a hatch in here, I'm not going to get access to those servos. So how much travel have we got? Well, I just completed this about 6 minutes ago. I've given it a quick test, and here's the results. So on the rudder, we have a very good throw, excellent throw there, no issues, no problems. On the elevators, wow, look at that, loads of throw on there, absolutely loads. So that's good. So the snake is now all trimmed off. I know where everything's got to be set. I'm going to mark that with a little marker pen in a minute or two, just for a bit of reference. So that's all okay. This clamp here, that's just to hold the vertical tail fill on just temporarily for the moment, because obviously I can't glue it on right now for obvious reasons. Now what I may do with this is I may put the stringers on now and then cover the tail up to this point here and then put everything on, because then that's done, it's complete, I can forget about it, and hopefully I won't break this in the rest of the build. Incidentally, a comment from a guy down my model club, he said about building these Guillows, he said it's like trying to make a glass aeroplane. He said you just touch them and they fall to bits. And I have to admit, he's right. So if you're getting frustrated, it's not just you, it's the kit is a very fragile thing. And the reason it is fragile is because it is designed to be rubber powered, and it's not designed to have a motor or a battery in it, or servos or receivers and those kind of things. It's meant to be a very, very light aircraft, or a model aircraft. And to be powered by a rubber band, so that's why it's so fragile. Which is, you know, if you're thinking about doing this, you need to take that into consideration. And I've said it a few times about it's not designed to be like this. We're doing it because we were children at the time, and now we're adults, and we have the technology, and we can do it. And that's what we're doing, because, you know, why not? You know, we're just big kids in adult bodies. So there you are. There's my little say on things. So that's where we're at. So just to go on, let's have a look through the camera. Yeah, plenty of throw on there. That's all good. I would think that once everything's set up and the model's finished, you get about 6mm travel, probably desirable for that. So okay, so I'm going to take that all apart now. I'm going to start stringing this up. That'll give it a bit more rigidity, and hopefully I won't put my finger through the stringers. So if you want to have another side-on look, just give you that opportunity. There's your up, there's your down. Everything's going in the right direction. Right, oops, sorry, right, left, right, and that's all working great. And of course, the throttle's working. Now, because it's now been covered, just gives you the opportunity to see not only my bad workmanship in covering, but you get to see what it's going to look like. It gives it a bit more depth of field, and there we are. That's where we are with the servos. Okay, and this gubbins you've seen before, so there's no real need to explain all that. And then this will go on here. Shout out to Tim Harvey. He gave me the suggestion that putting some paper between the magnets will make them less hard to pull this section out, which I'm going to try. And as I've already said, if you want to try and make the Red Baron Fokker triplane, check out Tim the Plane Man. He's making that right now. So all good. And there you go, and I think that's it for now. Oh, I didn't find this piece that I broke down here on the other side. I had to make a new one. Don't know what happened to that. No idea, giving it up. So I'll see you once I've got the stringers on.
I'm bored. Blah! Bored, 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 bored. I'm bored. Nah.